getting good at this.
Hey guys, it's time to start Bollocks this evening. We are here on a rainy Tuesday, and we have some very special guests in with us. We have, of course, I don't want to call you my wingman. You're kind of the main guy, and I'm your sidekick. Is that the way it works?
You're just flattering me.
Yeah, no, I'm the sidekick in this studio. All right, we got Lenny in studio, looking very dapper in his car shirt.
Got my beard trimmed today.
It looks good.
Yeah,
it showed up in our minion picture, which Blake's going to, I'm sure, flash up at some point. And we got Blake pushing all the buttons in the back there. Blake, how you doing back there?
Pushing all the buttons, indeed. I'm pushing all the buttons, indeed.
Okay. Now you just made everybody dizzy, Blake.
Yeah,
and you ended on yourself. I don't know if you did that on purpose or not.
I did it on purpose.
But we got to pay some bills first.
I'm with you.
And I'm going to get us started. Are you ready?
I'd be good.
You ready?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm
just looking for a
I'd be
response
good. I said I'd be good.
Oh, jeez.
I could be ibuprofen too, but you know.
Here we go. Bozard. We are here in the Bozard Ford Studios. Bozard Ford Lincoln in St. Augustine. Their goal is to make sure your time and experience buying a car is stress-free, fun, and enjoyable. Bozard is a family-owned Ford dealership that has been in business since 1949. Bozard Ford Lincoln has been a recipient of numerous dealer awards, including being ranked #1 automotive dealership in the nation by Dealer Rater. Bozard Ford also has won back-to-back President's Awards, which is the highest honor given by Ford Motor Company. Check them out today online, bozardford.com.
You know, I just read today that the employee pricing has really done well for Ford in the last month. Because of that, they sold a whole lot of vehicles.
Oh, I don't believe that.
Yeah, I read it.
No, the fact that you know how to read.
Oh, well, it's, you know, I do it slowly and I use my finger.
Okay,
I use my finger.
You do this.
So,
But Bozard Ford, they are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, they're
Sorry, I
crushing
didn't
it.
mean to interrupt that. And
yeah, they're crushing it, which is great.
nice beard.
Thank you very much.
It looks good.
Thank you, Tiny Mike.
It looks good.
Opening their doors, see, I move my finger like that.
Yeah.
Opening their doors in 2008, Brightway Insurance, the Casey agency, has proudly stood by their customers through hurricanes, major floods, hail, and fires. Through these events, the agency has become a much-needed insurance resource in times of trouble and hardship. Honesty and integrity are pillars of our core values, says owner Ashley Casey. We pride ourselves on being insurance experts while developing strategies that help our clients meet their insurance needs. We truly enjoy the relationship that we've forged and the office we have a real love for St. Augustine, which inspires all of us to be our best.
All right.
I'm done. You go.
Well, you stopped moving your finger, so I wasn't
Well, I
sure
know.
if you were done.
Well, because I was at the end where the line's there.
I had a high school teacher who was my history teacher my senior year. It was up to my senior year this happened, and his name was Mr. Beaumont. He was curmudgeon. He was like easily into like his tenure. He's like over 30 years, just waiting for like that day
Right.
he's going to quit or die. But Mr. Beaumont said, "You know how I know I'm smarter than you, Troy? Your lips move when you're reading silently." And I went, "Oh." never allowed that to happen again.
Oh my goodness.
Never allowed that to happen
Oh.
again. But I was like, oh, you know, for a dyslexic guy,
Yeah.
you're already self-conscious about reading.
Yep.
Yeah, but so I make sure when I'm reading silently, my lips don't move, and then I have to read it over again because I'm concentrating on my lips
Right.
not moving.
Well, he did you solid.
He did me a solid.
There you
Now people don't know. I don't know how to read. Here we go. St. Augustine Pirate and Treasure Museum. Set sail for an adventure at St. Augustine Pirate and Treasure Museum, home to the world's largest, most authentic collection of pirate artifacts. Explore over 800 relics across 40 immersive exhibitions, including Thomas II's original pirate chest, Blackbeard. Here, I need this.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're no help. See, this is why I'm your sidekick. You just left me hanging there.
Well, you know, you gotta. Well, so much for that golf outing. I wrote it down here. We're okay.
Blackbeard's blunderbuss.
It's down the pit.
the pit of despair. And gold from Queen Anne's Revenge. I'm glad she's my friend. She would have quit being my sponsor right now. You'll even see one of 3 authentic Jolly Roger flags left in the world, curated by Pat Croce and the Croce family. It's a journey through real pirate history right in downtown St. Augustine at 12 South Castillo Drive. Come experience the golden age of piracy. It's located right there across from the fort. Perfect location, wonderful people, and she'll be in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. I'm looking forward to that
2
very
weeks.
much. Yep.
Here you go.
If she's still talking to
if
you.
you need the pirate, or you need the golf outing there.
Thank you very
again.
much. I got it written down.
So
Don't
you
worry.
can cheat. All right, but we have two
We're
amazing
not on the
guests.
course yet.
Two amazing guests. I've already signed up, so I know I'm playing in it. I don't have a choice. We have two amazing guests from the Women's Refuge of St. Johns County. I've been saying it wrong all week. I apologize. We have Executive Director Debbie Morales, and we have Secretary of the Board Tiffany Peacock. Now, this morning I said who was joining us was going to be Dennis Hollingsworth. He's the president of your board, right?
Yes.
And he's off on some adventure, hiking the Appalachian Trail or someplace. Well, Dennis, we're sorry you couldn't make it. He couldn't make it. He was feeling a little under the weather. And this man's in the best shape of anybody I know. So if he's feeling under the weather, he's under the weather. So I've only known him for 40 years, so I know his quality. We hope you get better soon, and hopefully you're watching. I don't know if he even has Facebook.
He's probably too sick right now to watch.
I hope that's not true.
He's laying in bed.
So, Debbie, you are now the executive director of the Women's Refuge, but you actually were a graduate from the program also. So can you tell us a little bit about what the Women's Refuge is? And then can you give us your story of how you got to become the executive director? Because I think your story is something people really want to hear. And they definitely want to hear about the Women's Refuge and how we possibly can help out and getting the word out, the program you have.
Okay, sure. I would love to. So I want to start by sharing how the ministry was born. So I think that will give our, everyone a better picture of what we do. So a beautiful couple by the name of Joan and Ed Clements moved to St. Augustine to retire and fish their days away. So she immediately got involved in St. Johns County Jail. And she would see the revolving door. Women need help. They have nowhere to go but back to where they came from. So she would come home. Her husband would come home and see women in the house. And he's like, you can't bring women home from the jail. I don't know if they're no longer with us, so they can't get in trouble for that.
Yeah, they can't get in trouble for that.
So,
but Debbie, I need to ask you to do one thing. When you talk with your hands, don't hit the table because that's showing up on the microphone.
Okay.
I can see it bouncing.
Okay.
So I know it's hard for you not to
talk with my hands. It's like,
I know you talk with your hands, but,
Okay.
but your bracelet's hitting the table, and we're missing some of that through the microphone. So I just want to make sure we get your full story out there. So
she was taking women into her home to help them. So it was obvious, she knew that God had a calling to open a home where women can come, a safe place where they could come and have a fresh start. But they didn't have the means. So through Dennis, his mom, Myrtle Hollingsworth, got wind of.
And we just recently lost her, right?
We did.
Yeah. So
big loss, but she's in heaven, so
Yeah.
she wouldn't come back if she could. So
there's not a return policy. I understand. Okay.
It was through her they all came together, and the Women's Refuge was born in 2005. The doors opened.
So 20 years ago, this is when it started.
Yes, and it started in the jails with her going into the jails and seeing the need. The women needed Jesus and a safe home. So that's then we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We are Bible-based. We're a 12 to 18-month residential program. And I am going to share that in 2008, that's where I met Joan.
Okay.
In St. Johns County Jail.
So you met her in 2008, and that's when you were introduced to
and I came to the program. So that's another long story we don't have to get into. Yeah. But I went through the program for 1 year, and I felt a calling on my life. I believe that God was leading me to help other women like me. I've seen it in my family, and just the revolving door. I've walked that road for many years, and God used the program to help me. So and after I completed the program, I came on staff. Was just praying about my next steps. And then our house manager that was there at the time, she ended up in a nursing home. And I was asked to stay on as the live-in house manager. And I did that for 7 years while going to school for Christian counseling and psychology through Liberty University.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
So
Excellent. So it's 12 to 18 months, and I'm gonna come over to Tiffany as a board member because I want to get your story also. As a board member, when did you join the board, and how did you find out about the Women's Refuge, and what compelled you to join that board?
So I'm embarrassed to say that although I was born and raised here, I really didn't know anything about the program until about 2 years ago. So shame on me. But I started volunteering not quite 2 years ago in a capacity of simply just transporting the ladies. At that time, we had a lady that was about to graduate out of the program, and she had started a part-time job, and she just simply needed transportation. Debbie and the rest of the team just needed help transporting her so that she could kind of start getting some income and get out, one foot out into the community. And so I started that way and then instantly fell in love with the program. I love the hand up and not the hand out. I mean, this is a true, really strong, disciplined program that the ladies agreed to step into in 12 to 18 months. And so that's kind of how I got involved. And then immediately there was actually a board opening, and so they asked me to join, and I was thrilled. So
excellent. Lenny, you had like 6 great questions before, and I stopped you from asking.
Yes.
Right.
And I know one of the ones that you were asking about how the court mandated.
Right.
It. So how did you?
If some of these women are court mandated to get into the program, who covers their room and board? You know, does the court then provide that for them when the court mandates it, or do they have to come up with the funding themselves?
So we fundraise and we cover their expenses, and the women are permitted to work between 6 and 9 months, but not before. It just takes that long for them to get their footing.
Acclimated, sure.
Yeah. So at that time,
so the first 6 months it's just intense in the program. You can't go out and work, and you're working the program basically is what you're doing.
Right.
Okay, and then they can go out and get a job after 6 months.
yes.
If they've met their steps, is that the way it works? I'm sure there's a criteria
So
before you can go to work.
everyone's different. They all come from different places, so we tailor the program to the individual. Some women are not ready to work before 9 months, maybe even up to the year, depending.
Every
on
tree grows different.
where they, with their history. But if they do come to us under probation, the officers, they work with us.
Now, before the 6 to 8 months when they can go out and earn a living out in the outside world, so to speak, are there chores in the house, or is this a cooperative situation where the women that are living there are responsible for the upkeep of the house and the maintenance and the cleaning of the property, so that there are some focused things that they do to sort of get structure?
Yes. So we work on the whole woman. So the ladies, there's a very structured schedule in place. They're up at 6 in the morning. 6:30, we meet at the table. We start with devotions and prayer, in the morning, and then they have exercise. Then they have about an hour to have breakfast, prepare for the day, and then they're in studies and counseling. And they go to groups during the week. On the weekends, they have chores, family visitation, phone calls, those kind of things.
All right, and you have 6 young ladies working the program at a time, correct?
We can have up to 6.
Up to 6, and
Right now.
they're all transitioning at different times. Now, with Veterans Village, we have we have to deal with drug addiction and other types of addictions, alcohol, and all of those things. Do those professionals come to you to help with that counseling, or did you have to transport? Since Tiffany transports the ladies quite a bit, or do they have to go to them? Do they come to the house, or how does that look? What does that look like for the individual who needs those helps getting past that portion of it?
So we do individual counseling, and we work with them individually with relapse prevention, but we do also offer Celebrate Recovery. So it's like AANA, but it's hurts, habits, and hangups, and it's scripture infused. We don't take them to AANA meetings, but if the courts require that, they can do it online. They can do meetings online.
So you don't take them, like they don't sit in the room, you know?
No, they don't.
Okay. All right. Now, Tiffany, in your brief time with the refuge, what is one of the things that you went from being a volunteer to being on the board to kind of immersing yourself into it? What is one of the things that surprised you that the Women's Refuge is like, wow, we really do this well? What's something that, you know, besides how amazing Debbie is, but you know,
She is amazing.
But I mean, something that the foundation does really well.
So, kind of to touch on what we spoke about earlier, it is such a disciplined program that when I first was reading the schedule, the daily schedule, the get up time, the chores, everything, limited caffeine, no cell phones, there's no social media. A lot of us would not survive in the environment. We're not that disciplined to go through the program ourselves. So that was really an eye-opener for me, and I respected that. And I think for long-term success, I think that's super important. And the fact that the ladies are willing to be that disciplined and that the program is that disciplined in itself. So that was a huge thing for me.
Debbie, one of the things you said was that, you know, there seems to be a revolving door of a lot of women and men in particular that keep going back to the bad habits and end up back in prison. What's the recidivism rate from your program? Is it, you know, hugely successful? Do you not have people going back to jail when they graduate your program and get out into the world and can now learn the tools that make it easier for them to support themselves and survive in the real world?
We have seen great success, and we give God the glory for that. But we have seen great success. Now, to say that no one ever messes up, or you know, but what we have seen also is that when they do, they contact us.
Okay.
They contact us, and where they can't come back into the program, we help them find the help that they need, or we will meet them wherever they are, pick them up. We'll take them to get help. If they need food, you know, we will never give money, but we will help them where we can.
So you mentioned AA and NA. So even after the women graduate your program and are now sort of out there on their own, you guys still are available to be a sponsor sort of situation for them. If they need that, they'll come back for you.
Definitely support.
And you're not leaving these women when they're out. You're not letting go of them if you don't have to.
No.
Good.
No, we're not seasonal, and they know that.
Right,
they know that.
Yes, they do.
Right. It's not. Thanks very much. See you. Got to go.
Yeah.
No, you're sticking with them, and they know that,
Absolutely.
which gives them the strength to carry on. I would think that they know that there's a support for them. You know, if they get weak or, you know.
And we don't turn them away. You know, we understand that, you know, nobody's perfect and we're going to make mistakes, but we're here for you and want to see you succeed.
It's huge.
All right. Can you give us an example of a success story, not using names, of, you know, where this person was when they first found the refuge and where they're at today? And, you know, like with Home Again, like when we find someone a job and we get them housed and we get them, I mean, those are huge successes and huge victories, and they're hard to come by. And you're dealing with the kind of a similar client in a lot of ways, and you're getting them, you know, you're really hands-on and doing it. Can you give us one success story that really stands out in your mind? You know, you've been at this, working there, you were a part of the program in 2008, so you've been at it almost 20 years. So besides yourself as a success story.
No, there's many coming to my mind, but there's one, and I think Tiffany can agree, there's one that's in the forefront right now. She graduated the program last year in April, and this is Alpha Omega's been a huge, really come alongside her in this, but she completed our program, and when she came in, straight from jail, pregnant, she had her child, and she had to separate from her child, but she came to us with a lot of trauma. So, you know, this might be cliche to say, but no one grows up saying, I want to be an addict when I grow up, right?
Yeah. No.
So you got to go back and trace everything that's happened in their lives to see how they developed and where this came from. So hers started with this big trauma, and then it just developed. And so found herself in jail pregnant, came to us right after she had her child. Her parents took the baby while she came to us to get well, and just really struggling, going through this, working through her trauma. But it was just so beautiful to see, just to be a small part of that process and watching them work through the hard stuff. They come from hard places. To see them work through that and put their all into it and come out on the other end. So when it came, and not only that, but she got a good job, which she's still with today, doing very well, reunited with her children. Like I said, Alpha Omega plays. I don't know if I should even say that. Is that okay to say that?
Alpha Omega
Okay.
is one of the foundations I support on a regular basis,
Yeah.
and Alpha Omega has brought people to me where they're like, "Hey, we can't help them. What can you do?" And we work together on how to get these ladies in a good spot. No, so Alpha Omega's tops on my list.
Okay.
Alpha Omega
they're
is the
great.
only group that's made me cry on air, by the way. So that's a challenge.
Well, I don't want to give too many details. If I give you details, you might cry.
No, that's okay. That's okay, because I want people to understand the impact of what you're doing and the change you're making in these women's lives. So the details are very important, because what you're doing is so important. People need to understand how impactful you are in the lives you're changing. You're saving these women from themselves in so many ways, just like Alpha Omega does. So, don't hold back on details because you think people are going to get squeamish. No, they need to hear it, because they need to realize, wow, my life's pretty good.
Yeah.
And they need to understand that there's people out there that need our help, and we're only as strong as how much we can help people like the ladies that have found themselves in your care. So, I mean, don't hold back on details, because I think these ladies, most of the men and women I've worked with are very proud of, I was on rock bottom and now I'm here. And they're very proud to stand on that rock. And so, I mean, so don't hold back on that, because I think they find pride in it as much as you find pride. So you don't be, this is not the humble place to be.
I don't want to share information that maybe I shouldn't. So.
Don't overshare names and things like that.
No.
But you can share situations without giving that away. Okay.
So this young lady, she had twins, and at a year and a half, the daughter, she had a daughter and a son, twins. Her daughter suffocated in her crib and passed away. And from that time, she started numbing herself. And every year on that date, it was almost like there was something she had to do to self-destruct. And so she would go and steal something from here, go to Walmart, steal something from there, just things like that, do something to self-destruct. And she found herself in jail. Just different things like that, until that's when she heard about us, and her mom did that search. She's not from here. She's not local. But so she ended up staying local.
She found you from out of, that's wonderful.
Most women, honestly, a lot of women do. We've had women come from New York, from Orlando. I've picked women up from Orlando, from Broward County. I mean, yeah, I've driven hours to go pick up a lady.
Yeah.
Now, Debbie, when I was looking last night to get a little background on the Women's Refuge of St. Johns County, I saw that there's one further south in Florida. They're down in Miami. Are they affiliated with you?
They are not.
Start with you?
So we are modeled after them. You may be speaking of Vero, Women's Refuge in
I
Vero
saw
Beach.
one there, sure, yeah. And I thought there might have been one in Miami, but definitely the one in Vero I noticed.
We're kind of modeled after them. We've been to them. Actually, the founder of the refuge, she went to them to get training to open the Women's Refuge here.
Okay.
And we were originally Helen's House, named after Mr. Dennis's sister. So that's how we started. And then she went to training down in the Women's Refuge of Vero, and we became Women's Refuge of St. Johns County.
Okay. Yep. Now, you say that you've got clients from all over the state or all over the country. And you've got a limited scope right now, But Tiffany, you're trying to fundraise to get a second building, a second house, and expand your mandate to be able to help more women. So how's that going?
That is correct. So that's a big project.
Mm-hmm.
But we have made great strides the last couple of weeks. We have plans being finalized this week. Eddie Azell and his group, his team from Rescom Group, they've been very helpful, and they've gotten our plans. We'll have those finalized in the next few days. Then we're going to want to try to get them engineered. So we're hoping to find somebody that might be willing to donate some funds and or their time to get those plans engineered. We're way off from our goal, but we have made strides with the plans, and that's super exciting. We've got brochures here.
Tiffany, sorry to interrupt. Are you
Yes.
looking for an architect, or I mean, when you say engineered, so it's a house. So are you talking about an architect to finalize the design?
So we can get the plans for, the plumbing plans, the heat and air plans, the build things like that.
So
the next step.
an architect can guide you through that
Yes.
portion of it. So
Yeah, and we've got a couple contacts, but we haven't had anybody step up yet. So that's kind of the next step for us, is to get those. I call it engineered. I hope that's the right word, but so that's kind of where we are next, as well as the fundraising that we're trying to do to get there.
okay.
Well, for our viewers, you have options. If you got a pocket full of cash, the Foundation of Hope campaign will just take your money and it'll go, as you can see already, to a really worthy cause. But if you want to really knock around a golf ball, there's going to be a golf tournament on September 6th, so you can, have some fun by yourself and still contribute to what is a really worthy cause and help them get a little bit closer to their goal of getting that second building up and running. So that's the 7th annual golf tournament. It's at Royal St. Andrews. It's on September 6th. And
Wait. Royal St. Andrews?
St. Augustine.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Royal St. Andrews. That's a hell of a trip, Lenny.
That's a little bit different, buddy.
So you get a claret jug. What can I tell you? Scotland, St. Augustine.
Yeah, it's so close.
They're close. Well, you had a saint. Pick one. You got St. Augustine, you got St. Andrew.
Yeah.
All right.
But it is at Royal.
St. Augustine.
There you go.
All
You got
right.
that one.
Well, golf started in St. Andrews and it just ended up in St. Augustine.
There we
Be
go.
that as it may, save the plane fare, play golf here, and help the women.
All right. The new home, and you've given us our brochure here. The new home will have 5 bedrooms. The current home has 3. How many bedrooms do you
And
have?
an office.
And an office. 3 in an office. It can have up to 6 residents. Now, Blake and I can sympathize with this one. How many bathrooms does your current home have?
2. Everyone.
Congratulations. We have 5 people with 1 bathroom. So I was like, I can't imagine what 6 women.
Right.
We have 2 women in our house, which is bad enough. But, no offense, baby. I know you're watching. But I can't imagine what it would be like, even with 2 bathrooms and 6 women fighting over that space, too. It's still got to be a little bit of a challenge there. Or is there a schedule for that, too?
There actually isn't. They work it out.
It sounds like there might be a schedule for everything.
No, there is except for that.
Yeah.
So our house manager, she's on site and she has her own section of the house, her own bedroom, and she has her own bathroom. Everyone else has to share the other one.
All right. I'm going to run down our sponsors one more time because we failed to do this. We only read 3 reads today to try and get to them, but then I failed to read the rest of our sponsors.
Okay.
So you give me the smack in the neck next time. No, I don't want to give you free reign for that one. All right. Along with Bozard, Brightway Insurance, and the St. Augustine Pirate Museum, we also have A to Z Roofing and Waterproofing, Anastasia and Moultrie Creek Diner, Powell Heating and Air, Solar Stick, Abear Kresge and Associates, the Saint Restaurant, which we just ate at the other day.
Very good.
Me Hands,
Very, very good.
Irish cream. You like it?
Oh, make it fresh every day.
All right. A to Z. A.D. Davis Construction. We're in their building. I screwed that one up. And Land Title of America. And last but not least,
Kaiser's.
there you go.
But you need to add our new sponsor from yesterday
Oh,
into the
Mr.
list.
Electric.
There you go.
It's written right there. I'm sorry, John, Mr. Electric. I'm failing on so many levels today.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, to keep me in line.
Or
Keep
to
me in
screw up
line.
with you. Either way, one of the two.
All right, but I want to talk about the new house, and you guys have the golf tournament coming up as a fundraiser, which is in September. But if people want to help right now, you've motivated them right now, and they're like, "I got my checkbook. who do I need to write this check to? Do you have an online presence where they'd be able to find you, keep up with you, and participate in the victory you guys are about to have in building this new facility?
Yes, we do. You can go to our website. We have a Foundation of Hope webpage or page on our website. So you can go there, and it has we have all the information there. Also, if you're interested in our golf tournament, we have a page also on our website.
All right.
And there's a way you can donate.
And I played in the golf tournament for like the last 6 or 7 years, I believe. What other fundraisers do you guys have coming up with besides the golf tournament? Is it just word of mouth, or what do we got?
We are discussing right now. We're hoping to start in 2025, February or March, a type of informational event like a gala of sorts to bring awareness.
And you guys do such a beautiful job, but I get on to a lot of foundations about being secret agents. And, getting that word out is one of the biggest things. I came on board with Home Again 14 years ago, somewhere around there, and we just hit our stride this year because we didn't really focus on our base and we didn't really get the word out. So I appreciate you guys coming in and helping getting that word out. But I want to really encourage you guys to say, hey, we're going to, whoever I talk to, this is going in their hand. And getting the right person in that room, because you guys are one angel donor away from amazing things and saving a lot of lives. So hopefully they're listening today. Yes. And just, if I can encourage, and you're talking to the board, and I have this conversation with our board all the time. It's like, if you're in front of somebody, you just don't know. They might be that angel. You don't know. That's don't know what their situation is, and they might be able to associate with the girls. That's why I want to hear those true stories, because everyone has some darkness in their life. Absolutely. And just getting that word out is so important. And Debbie, you're doing an absolutely amazing job. I know the people on your board, several people. Dennis is salt of the earth. Just an amazing guy. So you guys are so fortunate to have him. But next time you have another fundraiser, I definitely want you to come back in here. But this Foundation of Hope campaign, you're going to have 2 houses. It's not like you're shutting down the first house.
Yes, we're going to have 2.
You're going to have 2 houses. Tell us how the new house functions with the old house, and how you work that into a program that you've been doing for 20 years, because it sounds like a big change to the organization too. And is that going to affect your staffing with this new house, because you're going to have continual costs too? So right. Sorry, I threw a lot of things at you right there, good. Debbie. I just hit you with about 12 different questions, but I think you can handle it.
No, yeah, that's okay. Thank you. So our current home is going to be a transition home for the women. So when they begin working and their schedules change and they graduate the program, they don't just go back out into the world. They may need an additional transition period. So the home that we are hoping to, we believe, we are going to build.
Yes, we are.
That home is going to be the program home. So what were the other questions?
So that one's going to be the program home.
Yes.
But your current staff, what do you have right now?
Okay, there's myself, and then there's an on-site house manager. And we actually are interviewing 3 ladies this week that are wanting to volunteer.
Okay. And it sounds like you have a lot of volunteers similar with your board. But when you start the new home, you're going to need another house manager, or you're going to need an additional person with that comes along with that, because that's an ongoing cost to your side of it. You got to figure out how to pay the bills for that portion of it. Is you guys have a goal setting strategy when because this is going to happen. I'm
thank you.
And if anybody on your board says, I don't know, they need to be off your board and get somebody in that believes in what's going to happen. It's going to happen. So is there some board strategy with you being on the board to secure this 20 years down the road? Because it's kind of easy to, no, it's not easy. I'm sorry. It's one thing to come up with enough money to build it. It's another thing to have it
Maintain it.
live beyond us. So
That's right.
the strategies from the board, what is some of the visions that the board sees, and how can we get that message out to the public?
So we are blessed to have a lot of volunteers, and also a lot of the graduates oftentimes will want to come back and help in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure what that looks like for the second house manager that we would need, and other positions. But I do believe that the event that Debbie mentioned earlier, that we're going to try to start the first quarter of 2026, next year, the gala or whatever it ends up being, I think that we're going to try to start that right away and grow that every year, so that each year as this new program home develops and the cost get higher and higher, that this gala type of a fundraiser that we're going to start will continue to build. They tend to build every year, and so we're hoping we can build on that every year.
Yeah, no, and that's 100% true, and don't get discouraged by that first year.
Right.
You know, in our big gala, I'm not sure which one's the right way to say it. I say it both ways. Is when we turn on the lights downtown is for Home Again.
Mm-hmm.
And the first night we were there, the first time we did it, after I had it when I was at St. Francis House too. It kind of fell apart with a particular mayor that's no longer living in the area, and I brought it back with Home Again. The first time we did it, we had 36 people there, and I paid for 24 of them.
Oh.
So you know, and now it's completely sold out. I don't even advertise
Nice.
for it. It's
Right.
completely sold out every year, and it raises, you know, a good chunk of our operating, you know. So don't get discouraged by the first thing. It's like, you know, it's just, you got to find the right people. You got to find that angel's out there. I mean, and
Absolutely.
you know, Home Again's been very fortunate the last 2 years where they're at, but it's just amazing. They just drop right into your lap sometimes too. But it's about getting the word out and being in the right place. So
Right.
And if you're that angel out there, I'm going to give you their online number. And Blake, maybe you can put this in the comments as well. And I'm going to do this uncharacteristically slow because I tend to speak very quickly at times.
Mhm.
It's Women's Refuge of STJO. So it's WOMENSREFUGEOFSTJO.com. And it's either / or /. I don't know which way that / goes.
I think it's
Support.
forward.
Okay. And support. So if you got a pocket full of money and you want to help these women out, that's where you can go to give them some money. And then you don't even have to play golf. You can just do that from your couch.
And even if you don't have a pocket full of money,
Right.
if you can give $25 a month every month, then it adds up. And I mean, even $10 a month, it adds up, and it's helping these ladies with groceries. One of the questions we have so many amazing providers, and you've already talked about Alpha Omega House. What is some of the other groups and nonprofits that you guys have leaned on to help you out, to kind of get you through some of these things? Because you guys you're a very small nonprofit compared to a lot of other ones, doing great things, but you're very small in comparison to a lot of these other ones. What are some of the other nonprofits you've leaned on to help you out?
So Wildflower has
They're amazing.
been tremendous. We lean on them for healthcare for our ladies, dental, even optical care. So they give us referrals, and the ladies get glasses if they need them. So they've just been tremendous. Asa Health as well has helped. SMA, we take our ladies to SMA for mental health if that's the need. But those are our primary.
Are you a member of the Continuum of Care, or?
Not yet. I
Okay.
have reached out, but
Okay. All right. Yeah,
mhm.
we need to make that happen. There's a lot of and what the Continuum of Care is. It's all the providers that help with those down and out in our community. And there's an amazing group. When you get in that room, you're going to feel the power of it, and it's a beautiful thing. It's pretty much overseen by Florida Health, Home Again was at one point the lead agency, but when Flagler came to us and said, "Hey, you mind if we take this over?" You got it, because they had deeper pockets than we did, and it exploded, and it allowed all these organizations to come together, and instead of being competition, they're helping each other. And like a group like Epicure and some of these other groups.
Epicure's another. They help us with food.
Yeah, so I mean, these are we're very fortunate where we're at, and a lot of times it's just asking the question or being in that right room, and that continuum of care is the right room in a lot of ways for a foundation like you guys, especially what you're about to go through.
So Debbie, I'm a chef by profession and by business. So I'm curious, coming back to some of the situations in the day-to-day operation of the house, who does the cooking? Do the women themselves do the cooking?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
We budget. We go grocery shopping together. They alternate weeks for cooking dinner, and we have dinner together as a family. We have weekly chores. So I did want to share that two of our ladies, I know this is going off of the cooking, but two of our ladies right now are getting their GED through
Wonderful.
First Coast. So we do help the women if they don't have that education to do that. Also, our women during the week, they're in classes, they're working through like codependency and boundaries and anger management. And so all of these things that help them in life. So they're not just sitting around all day.
Yeah, no.
Blake, and I'm not seeing the comments. I've asked people to ask questions. Are there any questions online that you're getting over there?
I have not seen any new questions yet.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure because it kind of locked up on me over here. So you didn't see anything from your side?
No.
Either.
Well, a lot of support and a lot of positive response. However, most certainly, and this little card that you've given us, just some of the techniques that you're working with, or some of the programs that you have in house. It's just you cover from pillar to post. In all honesty, between fitness and nutrition and personal health and hygiene, emotional and spiritual trauma, anger resolution, and drug education. And the big one is relapse prevention, is sort of what I was asking about recidivism. And that's I think that could be one of the more important things that you do so that people keep moving forward and don't backslide. I think it's just really very important. It's just you're doing such good work, and if you can get that second house, you can double your impact in the community and help twice as many women, which is really doing it. And then it's a growth situation, because once these women get out, they'll have the tools to succeed and maybe able to impact somebody else's life, when they're not under your roof, but when they're on their own. And if they can take these techniques that you've taught them and bring them further out, it's going to be much better for everybody in the long run.
I have a question, and I'm reading your card here. By the way, this is brilliant. This should be in everybody's hand that you talk to, and board should be carrying it around. And you got a QR code that'll take you to your PayPal account, I'm assuming.
Yes.
If it doesn't, you can make that happen tomorrow. But
the groups, Debbie, not yours.
Yeah.
Just saying, you gotta watch short when it comes to something like that.
I know how much Debbie gives, so if it gets to her, I think it's good for the foundation. But where it says rebuilding family relationships, a lot of times families give up, and they don't give up. They've taken themselves to an entire limit of, I've given you 22 chances at this, and they say, I can't anymore. You've impacted, because addiction doesn't care. They don't care about family. They don't care that you just robbed from your mom or whatever you've done, 20 times over, and your mom's tried to save you. And finally your mom's reached that point where it's like, I'm done. How do you make that do you make that first contact, or do they make it with you, that first contact with that family that's done? And, if you've ever, most of us have had some family members with addiction in their house where you've just been like, I gotta just, for the sanity of my family, I have to keep this family member away. So how do you redo that? And because there's got to be a huge pushback from the family side a lot of times with these I don't know what to call them, your clients, but
our residents.
Residents, yeah.
most of the time the family wants to hear, and not necessarily connect at that time, but they appreciate that we contact them and let them know where their daughter is, or where their wife is, or where their their loved one is. In time, we approach everything in prayer. So God really guides us in all of these things and how we go about them. The women, they give us their loved ones' information, and they want us to reach out. So I usually make the first contact, and then just when the time is right, they keep up with me. They'll touch base with me from time to time to check up on the resident. Sometimes the resident is felt led to write a letter, so we don't stop them from doing that. Of course, we counsel through it, and we go over, the letter and everything, and she'll send it to her parents or her child, or sometimes the child is with the father or the grandparents, but never once have I seen through my years of being with the Refuge, have I seen where someone has, at the end, when the lady is ready to graduate, complete the program, that those relationships have not been restored. I've always seen them restored.
That's wonderful. Now you are a religious based refuge, and I know everyone has a personal journey of religion and how it affects them in life. A lot of times people get very angry and will turn their back on religion when they're in a situation of addiction, or when they're in a situation of some violence or trauma, like you're saying, and they get very angry. I've been there personally myself. When that resident is there, how do you help them? Are most of the residents, they had religion and they got away from it, or most of the residents already have religion in their life and they kind of just need to refocus, or are they anti-religion when they hit your door?
It's a little bit. I'd say all of our residents, they've either had some experience or have been introduced to Christ or religion, and they're either at a place where they are seeking and they want to know truth and they want to know more, but they're not completely like, I don't want any part of it. They're not there. So as long as they're open, we're not about shoving, God or Christ down anyone's throat.
And I think the point I'm trying to make is it you get a court order says you need to go here. Is there a point where you're like, we're not the best fit for this person, and you have to say, all right, we need to refer you someplace else? Because I mean, this is a tough program these girls are in, and that's why it's successful, is because you give them the tough love. Is there a level of we have to rearrange? We're not the best one for this this resident today. Maybe she'll be better off over here. Is there a time where you've done that as an executive director? Because that's got to be hard to say, okay, this is not, I'm not the right person, because there's personalities come into play. And at some point you got to go, I'm not the right person for Julie over here. Let me see if I can find her a better fit. How hard is that? And how often does that actually happen?
We usually have that settled before it gets to the court. So I get their application from the chaplain. They request to come to us. Okay. And so like hospitals have our information, our applications, jails do. So I hear from the chaplains or from different ministries that go into the jail, and they send me a completed application. And so I go through it, and then I make an appointment for an interview. And so I interview the lady and find out where she is, if this is if she's a good fit. But as far as women that are not coming from the jail, It's really not about it's if they're ready or not. If they're serious about change, we're not going to turn them away. It's not about, we don't mind the different personalities. We welcome them. It's really if they're ready to do what is necessary for change, if they're serious about it, because we're not playing games.
And that's part of where my question was. You're talking about, at any time 4 to 6 women in one house, and that's 4 to 6 women with different personalities, different backgrounds, and all that. How do you keep them on the
not
same
fighting
page?
each other?
I mean, we got 5 people in our house,
Yes.
and there's a fight at least twice a week.
Well, we do have conflict, but we do conflict resolution. We have ways of confronting. We have every Friday we have a house check, so we come together at the table every Friday. And not only that, but my door's open every day. If the ladies are going through something and it's not their time for counseling, they can tap on the door and they can come in and talk. And sometimes it all depends on what it is, but we really do everything together. We talk. We're big on communication. We don't let anything fester. Someone's got to talk about something, but we help them because we want them to learn healthy ways of confronting and communicating with people, because they're going to run into that when they leave us.
Yeah, there's going to be conflict.
Yeah, they got to learn how to deal with that.
And there's going to be.
They definitely don't want to end up back in jail.
Okay, there was a couple of questions that did come up in the comments, and one was, how did you get your start at Women's Refuge? And I guess they must have come in late because we established that you successfully went through the program and decided to stay with it, which is a huge benefit for the women that are residents there now because of your experience through the program. Another person was asking, as far as the drug addiction aspect of it, do the women need to be clean when they come into your program, or is it a work through as you go? So I know you mentioned NA and AA. So do they have to be clean when they come in, or do you work with them to get clean while they're residents?
They have to be detoxed, and we've picked up women straight from Epic Detox. If they go there and they're detoxed and they're clean, they can come to us.
Yeah.
But they have to,
Epic,
because we're not.
So Epic's another group. They're coming in next Tuesday.
Yes.
So Epic's another group and that's the beauty of St. Augustine. And I want people to understand is it's not a competition with the nonprofits. We're trying to support each other, in so many different ways. We never really talked about this. What's the age range of the ladies that have come through? Like, what's your youngest resident that you've had? Not talking about right now. What's the oldest resident that you've had?
So the youngest we've had has been 18, and the oldest we had is 70.
Wow.
So So when you were saying you didn't turn anyone away, I wanted people to understand. I knew it was broad. I didn't realize it was as broad as it's 70. But Blake has in the comments how to reach out with you. The new building is the Foundation of Hope campaign. All right. The golf tournament, which is coming up very soon, you can sponsor. And if you would hand me the golf,
and you don't need to go to, and you don't need to go to Scotland for it.
And it's at Royal St. Augustine. You have different sponsor levels, and all of these sponsor levels are open right now, correct? Yes. So you have a title sponsor, which is $1,500. Platinum sponsor is $600. Gold is $400. Silver is $300, and a bronze is $125. For anyone who's out there, the phone number for this, do we have a phone number? I can just give you Ricky's. That's actually your phone number. Well, do you mind if I give out?
Or they could call the refuge. No, you can give that number if you like.
Okay, I'm gonna give out both phone numbers because I know Rick's watching too, and he's like, I hate you, Troy. But Rick, he's the one who actually does the golf tournament. So I'm gonna
he's
give
on
this,
our board.
Give this number first, and that's 904-806-7517. And then Debbie, your number, which is goes straight to you, is 904-460-2700. 3762. And Blake, if you don't mind putting those numbers, you need me to say them again? All right. Rick Hudgens, he's the one who runs the golf tournament for the fundraiser that's coming up. That is 904-806-7517. And Debbie's number at the Refuge is 904-460-3762. So, Lenny, you have anything else for the ladies?
Yeah, just a curiosity, because you've got a limited scope now. You're trying to double that, or at least expand the number of women that you can help, which would be wonderful. Is there a wait list to get into the program? Is that something that's functional, because it takes so long? I mean, what's your how frequently does a bed open up to allow somebody else to come into the program?
We do have a wait list right now. As far as it's as far as the rotation,
It's when they're ready to fly on their own.
Yes, it's just everybody's different. So,
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying every tree grows different. An orange tree grows differently than an oak tree, and every human being's different too. So, Blake's heard me tell him that story several times. So, but I appreciate you guys coming in. I encourage you guys, keep these cards with you. These are great. And put them in people's hands even when it's uncomfortable. So, don't
Right.
Worst they can do is say no, right?
That's
So
right.
it doesn't hurt to ask. And thank you guys so much for coming in. You guys, I know
Keep
you're
up
going to
the good work.
You're going to get this
Thank
in,
you.
and we're going to make Dennis make an appearance in here at some point.
Okay.
So we'll get you guys back in here as we get closer. I don't think we got this, but what is the projected timeline for the Hope campaign for the house to be built?
I'd love to answer that. I wish it was this year. We would love to break ground this year. Just really depends on what type of fundraising or we're a community full of contractors. We need contractors. If you are a concrete man and you're willing to, hey, I can help out and I can help with the foundation, or I can help with the interior, the finish out, any bit of that. So timeline, it's so hard to say.
Has anyone given you a budget yet on what the house would cost to be built?
We don't have the budget yet. We
You
don't
know what it costs yet.
That's correct. As soon as the plan's complete, then we can start maybe sending it out and trying to get an estimate.
Who did this little design here?
Who did that for us? A friend of mine.
Okay.
Actually, she went through the program,
Okay.
and
All
she
right.
works at a construction place right now.
Okay.
Great.
And like
She
I
did that
mentioned
for
earlier,
us.
Eddie Azell and his group over at Rescom group, they've been essential in helping us get this far, just with what Debbie, what you were just showing. So they've come alongside us and partnered with us to get the basic plan done.
Okay.
So we know the square footage, we know the layout. It's going to fit on the property that we already
You have the property. That was what you were going
We
to say. You
do.
have a location
Property.
for this.
So this
Yes.
is going to be on the
Okay.
same location, same property. So we are so fortunate there.
So the buildings will be adjacent to
They
each
will.
other.
Yes.
Oh, that's
They will.
fabulous. That makes it so much easier for you.
Yes.
Right.
Have you
Get roller
been?
skates.
Have you been through the county's program, like their pre-development program, like to tell you what you're missing, what you're not missing yet?
We have not. The only thing we have done so far is the special use permit for the new structure. And so we're good there. So we are so anxious to keep going.
All right. Well, Debbie, you know how to get a hold of me. Your board members obviously know how to get a hold of me. Thank you so much for coming in. Anything, last words, the parting words before Lenny and I wave and we go to
Well,
trivia?
just thank you. Thank y'all for having us, and thank you for your support in Jalaram. I'm just going to put that as Jalaram or
Jalaram.
Jalaram. Rick tried to correct me on the phone earlier. I said Jalaram. He's like, it's not Jalaram.
Jalaram.
But yeah,
Jalaram.
thank you for supporting our golf tournament every year.
Yeah.
So, and thank you to everyone who supports us now.
Yes.
Good work that you do. Saving lives.
Yeah. Lenny, any
Saved my
parting
life.
words, sir?
Have a great day.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for doing what you're doing.
We'll see you
you.
tomorrow night. This is Bollocks This Evening.